By mid-July, the zinnias and marigolds in your yard are usually thriving. They were bred for long stretches of sun and dry soil. Fruiting vegetables operate under an entirely different set of rules. An ornamental flower focuses on basic survival and reproduction. A tomato or cucumber plant attempts to pump massive amounts of water into heavy, developing fruit. When the heat index spikes, that process breaks down. The plant loses water through its leaves faster than its roots can pull it up. Tomatoes drop their blossoms before they can set fruit, and lettuces turn bitter in a matter of days. Midsummer productivity depends entirely on transitioning from a growth mindset into an active climate management phase. This chart shows a plant's energy output as temperatures rise. Right around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, yield plummets into the summer slump. Without physical intervention, your plants naturally stall out. They pause fruit production to conserve enough energy to keep their leaves alive. This leaves you with a choice. You can accept this dormant period to save time and water, or you can engineer a cooler microclimate to keep the harvest moving. We are going to look at the exact return on investment for the 3 most effective heat mitigation strategies, measuring the effort required against the continuity of your harvest. The first strategy tier focuses entirely on subsurface soil hydration and insulation. A common spring habit is giving your garden a shallow splash of water every day. In July, this trains the roots to stay near the hot, dry surface, leaving the plant highly vulnerable to afternoon heat. To carry vegetables through summer, you need to push moisture down where the soil stays cool. This means soaking the bed 6 to 8 inches deep, strictly 1 or 2 times a week, early in the morning. This chart shows the exact volume required to achieve that depth. A 10 by 10 foot garden needs about 62 gallons of water a week. A 4 by 8 foot raised bed requires roughly 20 gallons. Once that water is down, you have to lock it in. Applying 2 to 3 inches of organic straw mulch drops the soil surface temperature and stops evaporation. There is a required trade-off. You must pull the straw back from the base of the plant to prevent the stems from rotting, and you'll need to monitor your soil nutrition, as breaking down straw can tie up available nitrogen. Tracking this manual volume takes strict discipline, but it is the minimum viable effort required to prevent total crop failure in a heat wave. For yield optimizers, the advanced strategy involves rigging a 20 to 40% woven shade cloth directly over high-value crops, like tomatoes, peppers, and lettuce. This graph shows the impact. In panel B, the red line shows exposed fruit hitting 130 degrees, while shaded fruit stays safely under 100. This drop increases marketable yield by 50%, stopping lettuce from bolting and preventing blossom drop. The trade-off is significant cost and labor. You need heavy-duty poles and suspension wires to anchor the system so it survives summer windstorms. If you want a zero-cost alternative, you can use biological shading. This means planting your sensitive, cool-weather crops on the shady side of tall corn or indeterminate tomatoes. Structural shading is the highest return investment for continuous harvests. It depends entirely on your willingness to build the infrastructure. Beyond water and shade, summer gardening introduces hidden variables, required behavioral restraints, and targeted pest control. When temperatures cross 90 degrees, you need to completely pause all pruning and stop applying nitrogen fertilizer. Pruning is a stressor, and nitrogen drives leafy growth. To avoid pushing the plant past its limits, you have to accept a temporarily messy, overgrown garden while the heat wave passes. You also need to watch for physiological leaf roll, where leaves curl inward. This is a natural protective mechanism to save water. If the soil is moist, do not panic water the plant. Heat also triggers pests like 2-spotted spider mites. You can identify their presence by this distinct pale stippling and yellowing damage on the leaves. Fighting an infestation requires physically blasting the undersides of the leaves with a high-pressure morning water spray to disrupt their dry environment. Daily observation and knowing when to keep your hands off the plants are just as critical to your final yield as adding water. Let's place these strategies on a decision matrix, with cost on the bottom axis and yield on the side. Overhead sprinklers sit bottom left. Straw mulch and morning watering go bottom right. Structural shade cloth goes top right for maximum impact. There is no single correct answer here. The goal is simply to choose the strategy that matches your personal capacity and budget. If you are a casual or budget-conscious gardener, focus exclusively on that bottom right quadrant. Buy some straw, soak the roots twice a week, and step back. You will likely lose some tomato blossoms in July, but the plants will survive the heat and produce a late harvest in August. If you are a yield optimizer who expects crisp lettuce and uncracked tomatoes right through the hottest weeks of the year, you need to buy and anchor a shade cloth. Summer heat stress is a structural reality of the climate. Success is simply a matter of matching your infrastructure investment to your harvest expectations.